Hey! Oh, yikes. Let's see. Maybe we'll have to go this way. Oh, yikes. You can't turn your phone. Sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm going to give Tara a second to hop on. I might even just... Oh, we're going to figure this out. Okay, so Tara, whenever you're on, you can request to join. Welcome, everybody else. If you're here, if you're catching the replay, I should have made that a little higher, but we're going to roll with it. Oh, you want to be in my video? There we go. Approve. Let's see. Adding. We love it. I hope everybody's doing fabulous. If you are on the live, please say live. If you're on the replay, please say replay, because love to know. Adding. It's taking a minute to add. Let us see. Okay, we're just taking a hot second to add. Let me just make sure my video guest. Let's see, let's try it again. Approve. All right, let's see if this will work this way. Connect. Yay!
There we go. Hold on.
I was
Can
like,
I rotate my phone at all? Oh no, we have to go this way. Okay, I might just hold it then.
hi. Your hair looks so cute, love.
It's the quick, I need to look good look. I only have to curl the two pieces. So thanks.
There you go. Amazing. So I have my computer up with questions, and then if anybody comments anything, I can see it over here.
Okay, great. Yeah, let me know, because I don't know. I'm on my phone. I don't know if I could see the comments, so just stop me.
Yep.
Things pop up.
You are good. So I'm going to briefly explain to everybody how this is going to work, and then we'll go from there. I know quite a few people had said, I'm going to watch it, but I won't be there on the live. So I'm like, okay. So I'm not planning on getting a ton of questions, but we shall see. I also always regret wearing my hair down for things like this because I'm always touching it. So
I'm going to be doing the same. It's okay.
So how this is going to look is Tara's going to do most of the talking, but I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. But caloric deficit is really important. We talk about, eating less, all of the things, but a huge part is then going into a reverse and adding calories in. This is often why people will diet for years and years and years and like try to lose the same weight or not be able to lose weight, or they plateau and don't know what to do. So then they just work out more, eat less, and it's them in that same cycle. So this is also why all of the fad diets don't work, because it's just you're cutting everything out and you at some point need to refuel. So a lot of people's metabolisms will become shot, or your body it needs more fuel at some point. So we are going to be talking about the after part, after the caloric deficit, the most. So that's really what this live is going to be about. If you have any caloric deficit questions, we can talk about that another time. So that's how it's going to look. So we're going to go a little bit back, and then we're going to bring you forward. But going way back. What was your nutrition like before macros, before you started working with me?
Yeah, so before I started working with Maria, I was an athlete in college. I didn't pay attention to nutrition at all. I was kind of like at a average weight. I wasn't unhappy about it, but I wasn't the fittest person ever, because now I found out nutrition is a huge part of how you look. You just don't run all the time. So I didn't really pay attention to nutrition at all. Then college ended. I got a full-time 9-to-5 desk job. and I didn't know how to incorporate like exercising and nutrition without having like a coach yell at me and X, Y, and Z. And I never paid attention to what I ate. So there you have it. So gained weight and tried going on keto, lost weight, plateaued, and that was where it was a fitness journey or nutrition journey, keto, that just didn't agree with my lifestyle. Like, I like to have carbs and I like to go out and not have to say, oh, I can't eat bread and whatnot. So it just didn't agree with me in that sense. And I failed at it because I couldn't keep it consistent. And that's basically it. And then I just completely gave up on that. I would do like Instagram workouts that were like an hour long, but it was exhausting. So I didn't keep up with them. They weren't, what also wasn't consistent. I like to try different things. So I would do yoga and then I would run. And I don't like running. So I would like force myself when I would get really down to like go for a 2-3 mile run. And it was just painful because I didn't enjoy it. So it was just like a constant cycle of up and down and up and down. And that was me before Maria.
Very good. Perfect. So you wanted a life outside of fitness, basically, and you wanted a life dieting and things like that. Okay, so you kind of touched on the exercise and the nutrition. Great. So then why specifically did you want to work with me?
Oh, so I do have notes. So if I keep looking down, sorry. We've been through a lot together, so I wanted to make sure we captured all of it. So why Maria? Well, I knew you from high school. Not that we were like the best of friends or anything. We just followed each other on Instagram. I knew who you were. And that's like a big thing too. When people tell me like, oh, you knew them from high school, like she's your friend. I'm like, we were friends, like we knew of each other, but it wasn't like we were hanging out on the weekends or anything. But you kept posting on Instagram, just, oh, you want to eat a donut and lose weight, or you want to eat pizza and lose weight. And after going through keto and having that restrictive diet, that's all I wanted to do. So you were just speaking to my soul, like you were posting those things. And so I finally reached out. I was comfortable with you, and you're such a personal person. And obviously now we're friends. And it just worked out that you found the ticket to how to like love yourself and go through nutrition and fitness in a balanced way. So that's why I reached out to you, because of the donuts and the pizza.
We love pizza. Okay, awesome. I love that. And so you were able to do all of that while working with me, right?
Mm-hmm. You know it.
We love it. Okay. And then what did your deficit look like? So originally when we first started working together, we had you eating less or in a caloric deficit.
Yep.
I like saying less because then people think, oh, I just need to eat less. Less for what your deficit needed to be. So, or what your deficit needed to be, I should say. How did that look like for you?
Yeah, so I have a few things written down that I was going to say. With the caloric deficit, it was actually, like you were saying, less. You don't like saying that word, and it's perfect because I was actually eating more. And it's just like it's called a caloric deficit because of the types of food that you eat. I feel like when you're not looking at like the nutrition that's in the food that you're eating, you don't realize like how much is actually in it. And that was a huge part of your program that taught me like what food is and what nutritional value it is. So through the deficit, I want to say the hardest part was like understanding how to log when I was not by my scale or not by anything. But then I had you, and I just literally would all the time text a picture to Maria and be like, how do I log this? I can't figure it out. So that was probably the most difficult part. But overall, I was eating more, and I was learning how to eat, like how to have a balanced diet. Like, again, with the keto, since I was like fresh off like that journey, I was for breakfast, eggs, cheese, and bacon. And I loved it because who doesn't love that breakfast? But then looking at how much fat that incorporated without my day and how many calories are in fat grams, I was like, oh, if I just replace the bacon with a lot of peppers and onions on the side or like something like that. Peppers and onions have like no calories and like nothing, no carbs in them even really. It's like very small amount. And it just saves so much room for later. So just learning that balance of switch this out and you still enjoy your meal is like huge. So that was probably the hardest part, was like logging and like learning to adjust the foods that you do enjoy to the caloric deficit that you're putting yourself in.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you say like you transitioned pretty smoothly and now like feel super comfortable with it?
Oh yeah. Do you mean just in the caloric deficit from like prior to?
Yeah, even tracking in general.
Yeah. Having you there was definitely good. And I love how we went in. There's like a peek into Maria's program. But like we did small changes. So in the very beginning, I was still like changes to your numbers. So you have your carbs, your fats, and your proteins, and kind of like you try to hit those numbers throughout the day. So slowly adjusting, like moving one up and one down. And it helped me. It wasn't difficult at all because I was slowly taking that cheese away from the eggs, or oh, maybe I'll just replace the bacon with the cheese and then leave the bacon for later. It's just like understanding the slow movement and then have that become a habit and then have it become your lifestyle. So because of the slow transition, it really wasn't difficult. Like I would say the only thing that was difficult was when you're hungry and you just want to eat and you're measuring the stuff. It's like, okay, this is going to take 5 minutes and you're just getting hangry. That's literally the only thing. So just eat before you get hangry.
Absolutely.
And log it beforehand.
I get very hangry. And it's not really like a slow progression. It's like a right away, like, okay,
Yeah.
give me something.
Yep. I think that happens to everybody.
Yeah. Yikes. But okay, and then last question about the deficit. What were your results from your deficit?
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna share pounds and stuff because I don't hide that stuff. I let everybody know. So when I first met Maria, I was at 175. And throughout my caloric deficit, I made it down to 160. And that was like my goal weight for the longest time. We celebrated when that happened. But it wasn't even just my weight. My nails got stronger. Like they used to split all the time and just be so weak. Like my nails are stronger. I broke out less and my hair kept growing. And especially this was during quarantine and I wasn't getting a haircut. So my hair was down to here. So it's just like, I could just tell my body was like happy, So those were the biggest changes I saw with the caloric deficit. I loved it.
I love that. That's great. I actually didn't even know that about your nails. That's great.
Yeah, they kept cracking. Now look how long they are.
Wow.
And this is after I filed them.
All girls need nice nails. So
exactly. Nice and strong.
So now getting into the reverse. So this is the super fun part that we're going to talk about. Again, This is so key. Whether you do a caloric deficit on your own and then you start trying all this on your own, that is totally fine. Do not miss this part because if you stay in a deficit, you keep your numbers super low the rest of your life, your body needs the change. So we'll get into that though. So what did your reverse look like?
Yeah.
As far as like, calories, whatever you want to share with them.
Yeah, of course. Everything. Everybody should know everything. So just a little more to go back a step. I started with you in July and then I went for 3 months. So July, August, September. So in September we ended. I kept doing the deficit. I want to say, what did I write down? Till like October. And that was where I hit my plateau. I'm like, okay, I'm bouncing between like 158, 160, but I'm not losing as rapidly. And that's when you had more conversations about reverse dieting. And it was perfect timing because it was around the holidays and I was getting more and more nervous. So what did it look like? I think when we left, I didn't really pay attention to calories at all in the first deficit because you said I didn't have to and everything was working. And guess what? I didn't. But I paid attention to them more when I did the reverse because I was really comfortable with numbers. I knew what they were. So I was like willing to take on the next challenge. And that was calories. So my calories were I slowly worked up my carbs and my protein numbers. I had a strategy. I had it on my refrigerator. So people literally would come to my house and say like, Tara, and I would change my numbers to like increments of 5. So I would increase. This is just for my body and what I did too. This isn't like this book of what to do, but I would increase my carbs by 5, increase my protein by 5 or 10 if I felt like it that week. Like, it worked out really well because then my calories went from like 1,800 to 2,000 or 2,200. Like it got up to that point. But then watching my weight, I was still at that 160 range. I wasn't really going below, but I was bouncing around. And the whole reverse like experience for me was just kind of relief and like comfiness, because I was still losing weight and now I was eating those Christmas cookies and my carbs were like, I had 70 carbs left at the end of the day. I'm like, I can have a piece of cake, you know, like, and still lose weight and wake up the next morning and not be like, oh gosh, I had that piece of cake. So it was really enjoyable. And even going from my goal weight of like 160, I bounced probably all the way up to 165, but I wasn't worried about it because we were so successful with the caloric deficit. I knew what to expect. So it all worked out.
Mm-hmm.
What else did I have to say about that? That was pretty much it right now.
That's great.
But that was like the main bulk of it, like feeling like comfortable, just going through like that phase of weight and the calories. And to be honest, I didn't really track that much. Like I would track my breakfast and my lunch, and then I kind of knew my numbers at the end of the day. So I felt a little more free with the reverse dieting. I did like snack. I went back to like having a little midnight snack, but I just knew it wasn't like 500 more calories than what I was having. You know, like you still keep it within range, but like you just have like more freedom and more comfiness. I just like saying comfy because I was more comfy.
Right.
And I don't know if you were going to ask this next, but the next thing was that I changed was working out. I increased my weights like I normally would have done even if I was still in caloric deficit. I kept increasing my weights, and then I decreased cardio. So it also worked out because I don't know, again, this is just what worked for me. It was snowing outside, so I didn't feel like going for a walk. I wasn't running at all, even with the caloric deficit. So it just worked out that I really wasn't doing that much cardio at all. I would do like a Zumba class once in a while with like virtually through my friend Zumba. But other than that, it was just your workouts, and I kept increasing the weights to make it more challenging. And I found my body actually getting like more like my muscle build, like more muscular. And I really liked it because I never had that like definition before. And now I'll tell you even more when we get to the coming out of the reverse, but now it's a whole nother playing field.
I love it. That's awesome. So you really enjoyed the reverse process. You enjoyed being able to lift heavier. You saw your body responding well. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
More food, less cardio. We love it. And that's
really, it was fun.
Yeah. And that's a perfect way to do it. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm eating more, so I should do more cardio. You're kind of still just playing against that, because then you should really.
Yeah, it was like a very relaxing few months. Like, and I extended it. I know, like, I think you suggested like 3 months at the time. I did it from November to March was my whole entire reverse dieting, and I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. I love to be going into reverse. And for as far as the turns go, like we're talking about a reverse is very similar to like a maintenance phase for the people watching the replay. Reverse is similar to a maintenance phase. It is not the same as a bulk. A bulk, I would say maybe in the beginning it could almost seem like that. Like Tara had mentioned, like she started to see like definition. You're getting strong there. That's when you're going to see your muscles tone and things like that. A lot of people will work really, like increase their calories a ton and work out really hard. And that's when you will go into more like a bulk phase. That's where you will build your muscles. That's a really fun, but you will not like jack up unless you are eating a lot of food. So yeah. And everybody's different. Also, you mentioned that a few times. Like, this is what you did. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
100%. Everybody's different. Your body will feel better on certain numbers. Like for me, I had started to drop my numbers again for the spring. And I was like, kind of like them up there.
Yeah.
So I back a little bit just as you get more comfortable. So I love that. And yes, you did that for 3 months. Yeah, you can kind of do 3-4 months. Again, you can, for the winter, it doesn't really matter. So, and Christina, we're going to get to your question about the caloric deficit, but anything else you feel like is really valuable for people as far as their deficit? Did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't. There's like two things going on right now. Like I hear double of you.
Oh, really?
Hold on.
You look good on my end.
Hold on. I'm gonna exit out and come back because I like hear you saying things 3 times. I think it's my phone. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Stay tuned. Christina, we'll get to your question. I just want to make sure we're going in the right order of things so I'm not bouncing all over the place. Okay, let's get her approved.
I'm so sorry.
You're totally fine.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, what was your question?
Anything? Okay, so Christina asked another really good question. How many days or weeks did you monitor your weight before increasing calories while in a reverse?
Okay, so before monitoring calories. So I was pretty much monitoring my calories the whole time. But the question was like, how many times did I weigh myself?
Yeah, like were you super conscious about your weight before you would increase calories again?
Yes and no. I kind of knew in my head that every 2 weeks I was going to increase regardless. And I kind of mentally prepared that I was going to go up. Like I knew I was going to go up. And I also, because I had that freedom, when I went out with my family for lunch or something, like I said, I didn't log that dinner. So I knew, okay, Friday was that day that I didn't log. I knew I went out. I had like a couple drinks with friends, whatever. I knew my weight was going to be higher. So, and I watched it progress. But then once the next day would pay more attention to my numbers and not be so lenient, but that's the whole thing about reverse. I really felt lenient. I would go back and be like, oh, let me just track my numbers again, hit my numbers exactly. Since I had that like fun day, it would go right back to that 161, like that 160 range. And I just stayed right there. So it definitely went up. I was one of those ones, like definitely weighing myself probably every 2 days, I want to say, but I would just stay away from it after I had that fun day. We call them fun days, not cheat days. When you had your fun day, because everyone deserves them, go out, have your fun day, and then weigh yourself like 2 days after that, after you get back to your numbers, and you won't see the weight change. It's just like, oh, look, I'm still here. Because that was a big thing too. When I was very consistent with my reverse numbers, even at the 2,200 calories, I started to get into the 158, like even eating that many calories when I was staying consistent, making sure I did my workouts 4 times a week. Like I was starting to lose weight again. So it really felt like comfy. I keep saying comfy, but I was just so comfortable with it because I knew like it would just that easy bounce back.
And then
I answered it.
No, that was great. When did you stop increasing? This is another question from Christina. When did you stop increasing calories? So like you were.
That's good. Yeah, that is a good question. I think you suggest I asked Maria definitely to get like ballpark numbers, and there was one, I think I went on a couple of websites to get like different opinions on like how high to go, like bodybuilding.com, and like all these different things will give you like general ideas of how many calories whatever you should work up to. Because then and also on top of calories, I did my own research, and no, you don't have to do this, but I did my own research on like total daily expenditure. It's like TDEE, like how many, based on your height, weight, and your work, your job, like how many calories does your body burn in a day just by sitting here and breathing and just having your body be alive.
The e-guide I sent out last week. So if anybody wants that, they can get that too.
There we go. So I looked into that, and I just used those numbers too from the suggestions and just ate what I was comfortable with. So if you want to know what I was eating, again, don't use these for your numbers because everyone's different, but I was eating 170 grams of carbs, 60 grams of fat, and 140 grams of protein. And based off a lot of the ranges that I saw on different websites and talking to Maria, that's like the ballpark of where like my age, weight, and work lifestyle should like be around. And I was comfortable hitting those numbers. 140 grams of protein is hard to get by, especially when you're learning what types of foods have protein in them and stock your kitchen with them, and finding protein products that you do like. So that was a little bit of a challenge for me, but it worked out. So that was my experience with it.
I love that. And I think too, and you've said it a few times, like what your body and listening to your body and things like that, which is so important because even for me, when I had been going through the process myself and like figuring out what my body liked, I started increasing my carbs. I was like, oh, because I was in like a 170 range for a while, and then I was like, I'll go to 190.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to 200. I'm still feeling good. I'm going to go to 210. And it's,
yeah, that's amazing.
Play with it a little bit. And it can sound kind of annoying at first. It's like, just give me the numbers. Just tell me where I'm supposed to go. But again, that's you fitting into my way of, like, my diet, my way of, you want to find like where your body feels good and what you like. And even not doing cardio, some people are like, well, I really like doing cardio. So be it. Like, find what works for you. And so I love that. I love that you brought that up. And there was another.
I feel like I wrote more stuff down too. Oh, I wanted to talk about, what did I want to talk about? I have on cardio. I did lighten up on cardio. And then there's something else I wanted to say about reverse dieting. It'll come back to me. But just like overall, I had like less anxiety about, not that I had like bad anxiety with the caloric deficit, but just like, again, with those comfy days and those like fun days, it was just so much, I don't know, just the freedom with it and just still seeing like, oh, I'm still at this goal weight that I had for like 7 years. It was really easy, like really fun, and going through the process of like looking up different things and like learning, not only learning your body, but I really feel like Maria's program like taught me how to love myself, like at every stage that you're at. Like it was almost like a therapy session. Like we talked a lot more than just what to eat, like what not to eat, you know, like no, not to eat, because you basically could eat whatever. But you know what I'm saying? It was just like a therapy session to be like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. How do I adjust like my life, my like nutrition and stuff to what's going on in my life? So I think it was just like a great process through that as well. And then having that freedom and the comfiness, it's just, you learn how your body reacts to certain days. Because when you do have those fun days, I'm like, oh, my belly really bloats when I go over on my carbs, or I feel really sluggish when I go over on my fats. Like, and you just start to learn that, and it's great, because then you fall in love more with yourself since you understand it better and you understand what it wants. You're like, oh, let's talk it out, body.
Wow, I need to just take what you said there and blow it up on a screen. That is like, exactly, 100%. Thank you. A+, game over. Love it. That's amazing, and that's what we want. That's the goal.
Thanks.
I cry. Okay, so that's all. There was, yes, Christina had another question, but we're gonna get to that. I don't know. I just feel like you just covered all the bases and all of that. But
nice.
And what we're going to talk about again. So bringing it back, we talked about the initial caloric deficit, then Tara going into the reverse. But then after you go into that reverse maintenance, you go back into the caloric deficit, and that's where people lose that additional weight. So first question, or we'll get to that. But so after your reverse, what did you do?
So it was, and still like in the transitional phase. So I stopped my reverse in March. So it's only April, what, right? We're in April 19th. I was like, what month is it?
Yeah, April.
I know. So we're only in April. And I have a story to say on top of this, but I got down I haven't been past 160 since prior to college. So over 7 years ago. I got down within whatever, I think it's just 30 days now, because it was in the middle of March when I started to slowly decrease a little bit. I got down to 154 and I was freaking out. I was posting on my Instagram like, guys, it's happening. And I was just so ecstatic because my new like physical goal was like, yes, it's still hitting like weight numbers because everyone has that number. I'm like, oh, 150, like I know my body can get there. So I'm very excited to hit 150, but it's also just like the body changes that like I'm going through. So when I started, my first steps were to slowly, just as I increased my carbs and my protein, and I increased my fat too, just not as much. The first thing I did was lower my fat because that's just a lot of calories with those grams. So I started to lower my fat because I really was enjoying my carbs and protein being that high. I was having like 2 slices of bread with my egg whites on it, you know, in the morning. And then I had my second breakfast was probably cereal, you know, it's just like I was really enjoying it. And being home, and I was fortunate enough to work from home, it was easy for me to just run in the kitchen and like measure out what I could and could not have. But the only opposite of that would just be pre-logging and pre-preparing stuff. But yeah, so that was where I started off, and I started just slowly going down, mainly with my fats. So like I said, I went up to 160 grams of my fat. Now, a month in, I'm at did I say 160? I meant to say 60 grams if I did. I went up to 60 grams of fat. And now I'm at 45 or 47. Like I just bounced between, 2 grams is nothing. So like 47 grams of fat is what I went down to. And I'm probably at like 1,800 calories now. And I'm still doing 170 carbs and I'm still doing 170 protein. And I'm losing that difficult weight that I wasn't able to lose. And my body's reacting well. What was that?
What protein are you at?
Still at 140.
Okay, you said 170. So
did I kept mixing them up. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You went to what?
No, I kept them consistent. So my carbs and protein stayed consistent. The only thing I changed so far in this second deficit was my fat.
I love it.
Because I increased it a little bit too. So then I just went back down, and I actually went down from where I left off because I was comfortable doing that. And I found more foods that were just, the hardest thing was like finding foods. Like you're just so used to buying the same things. It's like, oh, let me do the research and like look at the back of this. And then it's like now at Costco, I know the bulk things to grab. And I'm like, yes, this has like 2 grams of fat, but it's a whole wheat wrap and it's perfect and tastes good. So yeah, just finding that. And then I was able to do it and work it into my balanced lifestyle. So I just was like, I'm up for the challenge. And that's the only thing I changed was my fat.
I love that. And I love that you're just listening to your body in that way. Actually, I know when I'm doing my maintenance, like bulk phase, I know what cereal to get. And when I'm going and trying to cut back a little, I know what cereal to get. So I get like the Wheaties, like they're hard. So that's what I would always have at night when I was trying to really increase my calories. Now I have like the Oreo cereal.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, it's so good. But
I'm a Honey Bunches of Oats girl. It's perfect for me.
Oh, we always have that. That's my husband's favorite. Christina said, feel free to share a list of favorite foods. Are there any? What are your like go-tos?
I could show you. Hold on. Give me a second.
She's going to show us. That's great. Love all the questions, by the way. And I think it was Megan said she weighs herself too much. I know. I know you do. It's fine though.
We had a few commercial breaks of this. This is kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to show you guys because I found these things and they're great. So beef jerky is one of my go-tos. And I found Costco. There's actually pork jerky, but it only has 2 grams of fat per serving. And one serving is like 2 of these huge like chunks of jerky. I know. I was surprised too. So beef jerky, and then like this was another big change I made also at Costco, roll-ups, like whole wheat. I changed that from your classic white bread, like whole wheat is just whatever tastes. I think it tastes better too. So right now my cat wants to eat it. So yeah, go-to snacks, Greek yogurt and not vegetables, pineapple. Now my brain is getting foggy because I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. Just say whatever.
Yeah. No.
So Greek yogurt is a huge snack for me because that has protein in it too. I just put fruit in it. I started doing overnight oats because that was easy in the morning. And I wake up, I start working at 6 a.m. And one of the first things was have your breakfast. And I would wake up at 6 and I wouldn't eat until like 10. And that was one of the biggest changes that me and Maria made together when I was in my first caloric deficit. So I made my overnight oats. The best part was I put chia seeds, like flax seeds, and then I would put cinnamon, maple syrup, and just make it sweet and make it good. Almond milk. And there's so many things on like Pinterest. You just get so many ideas for different types of overnight oats. Put peanut butter, bananas, and just switch it up. Oh, so good. So overnight oats were a big thing for me, especially in the very beginning. And then what else? Pancakes. Like Maria probably talks about Kodiak pancakes. I bake with that now. So there's this, I'm going to advertise for things. I hope that's okay.
Go for it.
There's this Instagram account called But Make It Healthy-ish. And they basically post a lot of recipes that are low fat, high protein. And I made cinnamon rolls the other day, and all I did was make with Greek yogurt, we made the dough, and it was with brown sugar, and we made the icing, and they tasted absolutely amazing.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so it's like this couple, and they just make all these things, and every single post is just like a different, not, I want to say I was gonna say a luxury meal, not a luxury, but like something that a sweet snack that everyone loves and craves, but they just make it so it's low fat and high protein. So I use my protein mix and stuff now when I would never do that before. And just when I'm out too, I wanted to mention, I might be deferring a little bit, but I did just come back from a vacation, and it was my first time kind of looking at my plate, and it wasn't restrictive. I just made sure I had carbs, fat, protein. And most of the time when you're out to eat, you can guarantee the fat's in there. So just find something my biggest thing was finding protein. I'm let me get the chicken, and then I'll have a chicken sandwich or something, because I know my carbs and I know my fat's in there. So, and then in the morning for breakfast, I would find that yogurt cup that was protein, whatever. So yeah, those are my favorite snacks. I'm done now. I felt like I went on a rant.
No, I love that. I love everything you shared. Literally love that. Nailed it. I really hope everybody takes home the fact that it is so important to go into reverse and refuel your body and go through those phases. Enjoy the process. Love your body. Love what your body can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you said you've gotten stronger. You've seen your body change through all of those.
It's changing again now. It's completely changing again. And I'm loving every second of it, because then I learned that I just needed more food in a caloric deficit. So going through the reverse is the thing that taught me that.
Yeah. I love that. I love this. This is great. That's so good to hear. I really do. I love that. So I really hope this was helpful for you guys. You guys can check out Tara on Instagram, Tracking Tara on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tracking Tara. Yes.
Yeah. Tracking _Tara _ somebody else took regular Tracking Tara. So I know. It's all right. I got that one.
So make sure you follow the other one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was great. And then getting it all out there, just it's kind of a sense of relief for me. I'm oh, it is working. It's reassurance for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. Love to hear it. If anybody's watching the replay, you can drop whatever questions. Either Tara or I will go back and answer them.
Definitely.
But this was amazing. I hope it was helpful for everybody else. Thank you for the questions, comments, all the love. And see you guys in the group. Have a great Monday. And eat more food.
Yeah. Thanks, Maria. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.